An Ottawa woman found out the hard way that fighting with your condo board can be a terrible and an expensive idea. The board told her a flower box did not comply with the condo's property rules and that she needed to pay a $763 removal fee. After years of battling it out in small claims court and appeals court, a judge finally ruled the woman was now on the hook, not just for the flower box, but for the legal fees and the damages, to a total of nearly $110,000. This morning, we are joined by Denise Lash. She is from Lash Condo Law. Good to have you with us this morning.
It's great to be here.
And just to put a period at the end of this story, there is no recourse for her. $110,000 is what she has to pay.
Well, that's it. And I think the last decision, the court declared her a vexatious litigant, which means she can no longer bring a claim against the condominium corporation, the manager, its directors. So that's it. It's over.
Wow. So let's go back to where this started. There's a flower box that she put up. They said, look, this is not what we want up in our building. But then she had to pay $763. They wanted her to pay that to remove it. Why couldn't she just remove it herself?
Well, this is it. And this is something that happens in many situations in condominium corporations. Owners are not aware of the rules. And they have to understand, although it's their home, there are common areas and there are rules and there are documents, and they have to comply. So what would have happened is she would have gotten notice that her flower box didn't comply, and she would have had opportunity to remove it. She didn't remove it, and that's why the condominium corporation went in there, and they are really just charging her for the costs that they incurred.
Right. So that's almost $1,000 to have it removed, probably by a professional, because you don't want to damage the rest of the building. Typically, owners, you said, they don't understand the rules when it comes to condo living, because although it is your property, it is your home, it is still a shared space. And there are things like common spaces, as you said, parking garages, the roof, the hallways, those all fall under that in your agreement.
Yeah, and there can be rules that affect your unit. So sometimes there is a rule that says that you can't put colored blinds or curtains in the inside of your unit because the appearance, from the appearance on the outside, it's not consistent. So there are all kinds of restrictions in documentation. But in this situation, what this woman should have done, and I think emotions are high, and that's what we find commonly in these situations, and that's where legal fees escalate. She should have paid that $763 under protest. And then she could have, after that, brought a small claims court action to dispute it. But what she did do is she didn't pay it. A lien was registered. And the way it works with condominium liens is all the costs that are incurred after that form part of the lien. And that was the big mistake here.
What recourse do owners have if they hit with an assessment that they think is unfair, that they don't want to play? Should they pay it and then do in protest, as you just suggested?
Yeah, well, we always say look at the costs of bringing a claim, because legal fees, as you know, in this case, $109,000, that was just the condominium's corporation's fees. She represented herself. She didn't have her own lawyer's fees. If you have an issue with the board, look at that, and you may decide that it's not worth the cost. If you are concerned about the way the board has been acting in a manner which you feel is wrong, then you elect the board. You're one of many owners that elect the board. Get support from the owners, and there is a mechanism. It's called a requisition to remove the board. And you can remove the board and elect board members that you trust.
I think one of the main things people have to know if they're going to take on their condo board is how much money you have and how much money they have. What else should they know before they're going to take on a condo board?
Well, you need the support of the owners. And we've seen this where it's one or two owners, and what will happen is they'll get legal representation and the costs escalate. You really need to get your community together, and you have to see how the owners feel, because it is a democracy.
I love the fact that there is a specific set of laws just for condos. It's something that people are just starting to learn more about as we see more condo ownership happen.
Yeah, there's been recent changes, the amendment to the Condominium Act. There's a new tribunal. There's a condominium authority where owners now can go to get information. There never used to be that. So as of November 2007, there have been a lot of changes.
All right, sit down and go through all the fine print. Good to have you here this morning.
Thank you.